Welcome back to another team preview, the final team preview episode of Dad's Bet Baseball. We are sponsored by Hall of Fame Bets. Make sure to use the code DADS to get a 1-week free trial, 50% off your first month. And you're going to be using Hall of Fame Bets quite a bit here over the next couple of weeks. We've got March Madness, obviously, still ongoing. We have NBA, we've got NHL, and of course, we have opening day here in the greatest sport of them all in baseball, kicking off here on Wednesday with the Yankees and the Giants. So again, make sure to use that code DADS to get a 1-week free trial and 50% off your first month at Hall of Fame Bets. Okay, boys, we have made it. We have finally made it here. And I just want to say thank you first to our guest, Pete Sheffield Shuffler, because he's worked so hard to make it to 9:30 with his 3 kids to record this podcast. So
it's rough.
Fuck
man.
all them 29 podcasts that we have recorded up until now. Pete, you made it here. It's 9:30. The kids are down. Welcome back to the show. We have got our guests, Pete and Kyle. Guys, we are happy to have you here on the Philadelphia Phillies team preview. This is what I would like to call the Keep It In Your Pants, Adam episode, because, oh boy, I think there were a few pairs of underwears changed before he started to prep for this episode earlier today. Let's talk about the Philadelphia Phillies coming off of the 2025 season. So Phillies 96-66 last season. Would it be fair to say quietly we're almost the best team in baseball?
Yeah.
At least from a record standpoint. I think a lot of people forget that. Second best record. They were on the Brewers' ass until the last day, basically, or second to last day, I think, of the regular season. Pythag still says that they were a 94-win team. So only 2 wins above. They were pretty much right where they probably should have been. And that 55-26 record at home was pretty impressive. They continued to play very, very well at the bank. Obviously, you had a elite starting rotation that was a key part of this team last year with Christopher Sanchez. People will remember, one of our favorite players. I am actually even wearing his jersey. This is the only Phillies player that I will wear for how much we had invested him in at 100-1 for Cy Young last year. He proved that he was the real deal, just got a new extension for him. So good for him. As far as major additions this offseason, welcome Adolis Garcia. Okay, Dombo doesn't miss, according to Berg. So Adolis Garcia coming into the outfield. You know who's not here? Bo Bichette. He turned down a $200 million offer from Dombrowski, which Adam would also try to remind me that the fact that Dombrowski's free agent was to re-sign players and not actually go sign people to help your team makes a good offseason. So we've got him coming here. We did also, it looks like they sent out Matt Strahm, bringing back Jonathan Bolin, Kyle Backus also coming into this team. They also did lose Ranger Suarez, but they did extend Jesus Luzardo, who was obviously great for this team last year. And of course, it should be mentioned that they acquired one of the best closers in baseball in Johan Duran at the trade deadline. So obviously that wasn't an offseason addition, but he will be back for this team. So I usually when they make the deadline ones that you come into the next year, I kind of consider that almost as a off-season plus type of addition. And he does have a pretty sick walk-in song. I'll finally admit it now that my boy Edwin Diaz has now headed to LA. So let's go to you first, Berg. What was your memory of betting on this team in 2025? What comes first to mind other than the fact that Orion Kirkring doesn't know where to throw a ball?
How close we got on Christopher Sanchez. Like, we were right there. And as soon as they had said that he was working on a cutter in December, I texted, it was Christmas Day. And I said, I'm going to find someone with a Bet Rivers account and we're going to do this. No, the arrival of Christopher Sanchez is what I remembered. And I backed that guy a lot, and he didn't have bad splits or anything like that. And Honestly, I feel like I was the only. Maybe I was just the only Philadelphia Phillies fan. I never bet a Schwarber home run the entire year, so I don't know that feeling. Not last year.
Good one.
No. Yeah, it's so that's kind of those were my big ones with that team. And then the third one would be just midway through the season, putting way too many exactas on the Tigers versus Phillies as my World Series final.
Kyle, what about you?
I did bet a lot of Kyle Schwarber home runs. That was a great feeling. A ton last year. I was very in on Christopher Sanchez as well. That felt good to as someone who believed in him from a very early stage in his career. I was like, all right, it's finally paying off. And also believing in Jesus Luzardo, him kind of evolving into what I think everyone thought he could be when he was in Oakland, what they thought he was going to be when he was in Miami. And then it kind of just culminating under the watch of Caleb Cotham and being in an actual rotation that has guys to learn from, and to learn from Wheeler, learn from Sanchez, and seeing outside of that one little blip on the radar in May, I believe it was, when he had those couple of kind of rough starts. Luzardo was, just as much in the Cy Young conversation. If you obviously hindsight remove that portion of his season, he had a great year last year and really evolved into the third ace on this team going into this year now.
Phenomenal postseason too, by the way. I mean,
yes.
Went toe to toe. He was arguably. I mean, Sanchez was great too, but I could make a case that he was actually the best pitcher for the Phillies when it came to heading into the postseason. I do want to just call out before I throw it here to you, Pete, on your memory of this team, but they did bring in Brad Keller, which was a big signing, I think, for the bullpen. And I do want to call out that Jose Alvarado will be back on this team, pending that he does not hang out with Jerickson Profar to get another PED suspension. And
also keep in mind, Mr. Romero will not be on this team, which is awesome.
Right.
Which I think
that is an addition by subtraction. Our saves leader from 2025 will no longer be on this team. Pete, what comes to mind first for you on the Phillies for the 2025 season?
I like betting on to record a win. So Jesus Luzardo, outside of those two starts, one of them against the Cubs where he gave up 5 runs. Jesus Luzardo to record a win is always one of my favorites. Obviously, Schwarber, when he's hitting close to 40, 50 bombs a season, is always fun. Some of the additions I'm excited for is in that bullpen. Kyle Bennett, you mentioned, and when you guys, you get into some nerdy stats about extension, he has one of the farthest extensions in all of baseball. He's got a really funky delivery that's going to complement well with Alvarado, who comes way over the top, and then you got another lefty in Bennett who comes very low. So the fact he makes the squad gives a really good different look from two lefties out of the bullpen that I really like. Zack Pop, get the fuck off my team, dude. Why? I don't know what kind of fucking blackmail he's got on GMs, but Zack Pop, dude, see you later. As soon as Kirk comes back, get him off the team. So that kind of just bothered me. I really wanted to see Brian Daly. I really want to see Brian De La Cruz.
I did too.
Make the squad instead of Dylan Moore. I don't care about your Gold Glove, dude. You're a 206 career average hitter. I don't care.
Apparently, they put him in triple. The BDLC was because they want his bat to stay ready. But yeah, I didn't realize he was Dominican League MVP. By the way,
yes.
Yeah.
And his minor league contract runs through July, so that's why they were able to manipulate
Stash
that.
him.
Where Dylan Moore opted, he triggered his opt-out clause 2 days ago, so it was they were kind of put against a rock and a hard place.
Yeah,
right. So if they keep Dylan Moore, they don't lose him, and then they can go ahead and recall Brian De La Cruz. But I'm I don't want Dylan Cruz on my team. I really don't care to see him. So additions, subtractions. Jonathan Bolin should be good in that Matt Strahm trade. And then keep an eye out for Chase Sugar, dude. I think Chase Sugar, he didn't make the squad, but he's going to be in Lehigh Valley in AAA. He'll make an appearance some point when these relievers.
He was on your pod, wasn't? Did you have him on your pod at one point?
Him and Backus, dude. I gotta always say, friends of the pod, Kyle Backus and Chase Sugar. So yeah, I'm always rooting for those guys, dude. They're awesome.
See, this is why Pete is more legit than us, Berg, because when we say friends of the pod, like Pete actually has them on the pod. We just say friends of the pod.
But we're friends with Pete, so therefore they're friends of our friends. So
they're cousins of the pod.
They're cousins of the pod, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just comment quickly and just say that, like, again, I feel like this team was quietly really, really good last year. And I think that a lot of, I mean, as a designated Mets fan on this podcast, I had a lot of fun with their April, particularly the series that they got swept, and Romero. I think Romero blew at least 2 saves in that series. Phillies Reddit was kind of fun to scroll through, at least for those few weeks. But then after that, this team was extremely consistent for the rest of the season. I mean, if you look at how this team performed both from the pitching standpoint, but also from a hitting standpoint, they were 329 WOBA for the entire season. They consistently hit for power around about a 9% barrel, 303 BABIP, and almost a 760 OPS across the entire year. For a team, as team hitting metrics go, that's really great for what they were able to do in 2025. But I think before I get to the lineup, which we're gonna have an interesting debate here on what does the top of this lineup look like in terms of the comparison to the bottom of the lineup, I really want to get your guys' takes on still a few of these other pitchers that could really, to me, define where the Phillies go in 2026. So let's start with Zack Wheeler, just because he's been in the news a lot lately. I had famously said to Berg that he had the same injury that Matt Harvey had, so that was a career ender. Turns out that Zack Wheeler is an alien, and he is apparently just like my boy Merrill Kelly, and he is apparently going to.
He's just a dog.
He's a dog. He's going to be pitching very soon. He's going to be starting in AAA here, I believe, on Saturday. End of the month.
Saturday.
Yeah, to be starting. So, Kyle, I'm going to throw it back to you. What are your expectations for Zack Wheeler coming off the injury? How do you think that Thompson is going to manage him through the first couple of months of the season? Do they need him to be a Cy Young type of level pitcher, or is he I can't believe I'm saying this, but is Zack Wheeler almost a luxury to have in this rotation when you already have Luzardo and Sanchez as your 1-2?
And to kind of couple off too, reminder, last year Zack Wheeler missed nearly half the season last year. So imagine the consistency this team had if they had a healthy Zack Wheeler, if he was able to pitch in the playoffs, what they would have been able to do. It's one of the bigger what ifs for that pitching staff last year.
Yeah. I mean, I think the news came down in middle of August.
Yeah.
And they still rolled, honestly, through the end of the year. I mean, they had and I think a lot of that was the fact that the bullpen was pitching as well as it had been with Duran coming in. Well, I'll get to the bullpen in a second, but I do want to also bring up the other starter here. If we're expecting Wheeler to be back, let's say mid to late April, another guy that looked really good in spring that makes me nervous also as a Mets fan is Aaron Nola. I thought Nola looked fantastic in the WBC. We actually saw his velo go up, which is something that I've pointed out the last couple of years. He's seen a drop in. I mean, Berg, as far as Aaron Nola, where can we potentially target him from a betting perspective? Because I see a bounce back year coming for him, and he's also not a guy that's still all that old as a starting pitcher. He's not even 33 years old yet. Have you tried to find any sort of markets to bet him in? What are your expectations for him?
I thought about it because I won't take full credit for it. Javon was the one who said, because it's the day that Nola said that he was going to be on Italy WBC, Javon said he's going to cook in WBC, and he did. And the thing with Nola is that, one, he's way better in even years. Two, he does better as he gets innings under his belt. He did better. He had a broken season last year for injury reasons, but then if you look at him in any other season, there's a reason why he's a lights out guy in September. He's been fantastic, and he gets better as it goes on. He now has a couple innings under that, and keep in mind last year he didn't have a ton. So that being said, I wanted to target him for Ks because I thought we were going to get a low number. We didn't get as low as I would have liked. It was still 155 is what I saw, which I don't think he's a 200K workhorse anymore. I still like the over, but I'm going to be targeting him. I think his K line is going to be really low game to game. Like he is, he's probably not, he's like the third starter for them too. Cause they're going to go.
He's going to be number 2 to start the year.
He's going to go 2 to start the year.
Yeah. Cause they're splitting the lefties.
Against the Ranger. Yeah. So like I'm going to target his Ks on a game to game basis. I couldn't quite get there. Like, cause I wanted the alts, that value wasn't there until I got that type of year, but I think Nola's going to just shove, as the kids say. This is a guy who, I mean, even in spring, he's 9 innings. Like this is not counting his WB stuff, but like his FIP was fine in 9 innings. He had a 26% K rate, man. Like he has his stuff there. And then they took his hard hit rate is still what it is. Like he's going to have that Sonny Gray type of thing where, yeah, he's probably going to give up 20 home runs this year, and they're probably all going to be at Citizen Bank. And guess what? He's probably still going to pitch more than 6 innings every start, and he's going to probably still give you 7+ Ks because now his body feels good too. So I'm all in on Nola.
Always keep in mind too, during the WBC, it was over 75 degrees. So Nola can pitch when it's warm. When it's a little bit colder, I'm a little bit uneasy on him.
He's a Louisiana boy. That's why he likes that humidity.
Yeah, and to your point too, like he did not have a consistency. Like he just had a multitude of injuries. It wasn't like he was dealing with one consistent injury into last season. He had a rib fracture. He had as soon as he came back from the rib fracture, he immediately then had ankle issues because he was overcompensating. And then it was just kind of like, look, like let's just sit him down. I forgot that he actually was like fantastic in the NLDS game that he had ended up pitching. So, kudos to him for at least
first time he's ever been injured in his career too. Like he's just like Mr. Consistency. And that's why like seeing him in the WBC, I'm all in on his strikeouts. Like Berg said, like DraftKings has him at plus 650 for 200 strikeouts. I love that.
That's the ceiling year. If he could do the whole thing, 650 for him.
Before last year, my favorite bet every year is to bet Aaron Nola 200 plus strikeouts.
Yeah, he was 196 was his line last year. Yeah, that's fair. And he's off a low workload.
Yeah, and he's gonna split Sanchez and Luzardo to start the season, and then when Wheeler comes back, they'll readjust the rotation, I'm sure. And
I kind of want this.
I kind of like that. I like that. That number immediately seemed very high to me.
That's
but
really
then if
high.
I go and you look at his, we're going back here to 2018, but 2018 224, 19 229. Obviously, COVID season, you got to throw that out. But he was, by the way, on pace to get over 200 that season too. 223, 235, 202. 197 in 2024. So he was right under that. And then obviously last year, it just was a complete train wreck of a season for him. So was it plus 650 for 200 plus? Yeah, I do like that number.
They don't even have his other bands.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's crazy. So basically, that's the signal that's telling you is look, they're not baiting you to bet Nola. Like he's not that kind of guy. Like there's no, people are already down on him after last year, but that is absolutely saying that we don't want any part of liability on him to go anywhere in that 150 to 200 range. That like if he's back, he's back. And that's a misprice to me. For a guy
like Yamamoto's plus 600 for 200 plus strikeouts for like a comparison's sake.
I took his under plus 650. Yeah, I just took this.
Yeah, that's a good number. All right, there's some more pitching stuff I want to discuss, but I do want to get to the one area of this team. This is the area that was making Berg stew earlier today that I really was getting under his grill on, which is the lineup. And obviously we know how great Kyle Schwarber is. It was a must that he had. I think, Pete, that was like one of the first things you said when we had you on for the free agent draft was like that had to be Dombo's number one priority beyond anything was to bring him back. So good on him for bringing him back into that lineup. You obviously still have Turner. You still have Harper, who is going to be motivated here after the WBC. Then I look at 4 through 9 on the lineup and I go, okay. I have some questions on how this is going to work. Now, I obviously know that last year in the regular season, they had a team that was able to still have a decent WRC plus as a whole. But if I'm looking at the projected starting lineup for that 4 through 9, you're looking at Bohm, Stott, Garcia, Marsh, Real Muto, and then obviously an unknown in Crawford, which we can also talk a little bit about. But maybe I'll throw it quickly here to you, Pete. Do you have those same concerns as a Phillies fan on this lineup going after you basically go from the turn from Harper? And is this something that the team should be concerned about now, or that it's something that you feel like they can address later or middle in the season?
I always look at it as the Phillies are a very good regular season team. We talked about it earlier, second most wins in baseball behind the Brewers last year, right? I mean, it might not be sexy, but the lineup does get it done, right? I made a video on Bryson Stott today. I have big expectations for Bryson Stott last year after the All-Star break. I'm going to give you some numbers real quick. So from the beginning of last season through July 22nd, he was hitting 228, 626 OPS. Very bad. After the All-Star break, he made adjustments. He lowered his hand and moved closer to the plate, working with hitting coach Kevin Long. After his adjustments, he hit 307 and an 885 OPS for the rest of the regular season. Completely different hitter, right? And then that was awesome. So then now I take a look at spring training. How did he play in spring training? He was awesome. 366 average, 1.072 OPS, 26 total bases, the most total bases he's collected in spring training. So from that adjustment, it just makes me feel confident in Bryson Stott because he's already one of the best defensive second basemen in baseball. He doesn't chase. He doesn't whiff. He doesn't strike out at a high percentage either. He's an 88th percentile in whiff percentage last season. It's very consistent over his tenure with the Phillies. So he's got everything. These adjustments that he's making is a real positive for me. I've seen from the second half and then spring training. I think he's ready to kind of have another replicate season what he had in 2023, where he hit 280, 15 bombs and 30 stolen bases. So that's Bryson Stott, right? Adolis Garcia, you're hoping that you can get that ALCS MVP out of him. We're obviously defensively better in right field with him. We'll see what it looks like at the plate. JT Realmuto, I don't know what you're going to get out of him. An aging catcher, kind of just last second. Hey, we didn't get Bo Bichette. Here's 2 or 3 years. Take it. So I don't know what we're going to see offensively out of JT Realmuto. Justin Crawford has looked great, but in reality, let's be honest, a rookie. At some point, I expect him to struggle. I fully expect him to struggle at some point in the season. I mean, you got to fail to know, to get better. So I'm confident. When people say the teams, they're running it back, that this is what they're referring to, right? This 1 through 9 hitting. They're not talking about the bullpen. They're not talking about starting pitching. It's this 1 through 9. So, I choose to remain cautiously optimistic. It's still a regular season game. It's going to be the same story as it has been over the last couple of years. Can the boys hit in October? So yes, I still feel very good. Feel like a lot of the players could have some bumps in their numbers this season.
Berg, I know you're dying to talk about this because I kept saying today, save it for the pod. Please save it for the pod. So tell me why I'm wrong that I still shouldn't have some inkling of concern. I'll throw out, by the way, Pete, that Alec Bohm had a great second half of last season too. I mean, he had a 337 WOBA with almost a 120 WRC plus, and
he got hurt, and the team had problems when he got hurt, and then he was good when he came back. So look, +1 to the Stott stuff, dude. I was also looking while we were talking to see, you can't even find some of that stuff, but Stott looks poised for 150 hit year, which would be pretty massive. So here's the thing. Bohm, I think, is going to be great. I think having last year, this outfield had a negative 3.9 WAR, which was 25th in baseball. Even if you can get, and a lot of that was because of Kepler and Castellano's defensive liabilities in there. So Brandon Marsh finally being able to be a true platoon like he should be is going to massively help. Garcia. The last couple games in spring training has turned it on. His hard hit rate is 56% in spring training, which is pretty good. And defensively, he's an upgrade. The other day, he gunned out was it somebody on the Guardians or was on the Yankee? He got somebody out at second base off the wall, trying to stretch a single into a double. Castellanos just isn't doing that, even though I will say Castellanos has two of the most memorable catches in the postseason that he accidentally made, one to close out that game against the Braves. Stott, again, we already talked about. JT Realmuto, his barrel rate is still there. And look, I do agree with you guys, though. It's sort of like you re-sign JT Realmuto because he's undefeated in ABS. Look, he's not going to let people steal strikes, just like he doesn't want anyone stealing the election. So JT Realmuto is who I want framing it for pitchers and doing that. I think it just comes down to the Justin Crawford, who I'm excited about overall. Is this another Yohan Rojas situation? Is this a second half Dom Brett? Like, there's been Phillies guys in the outfield I've been excited about and doing that, but I do expect Justin Crawford at some point to struggle. He is, though, one of the better prospects, and they did say months ago his job to lose, which I think is something that will give him some confidence in there. But I like this. I like the bottom half of this lineup a lot more than I did last year. I just need this lineup to, in the outfield specifically, I just need them to get to neutral. I don't need them to be blowing things away, but negative 3.9 WAR is astonishingly bad. And the parallels that I do see on this team that do give me caution, what happened with the Astros last year is a lot of what I sort of starting to see from the Phillies. It's that the Astros got to a point where they got too old very quickly, and they still had 86 wins last year, but you could see everybody drop out, and they had probably one of the worst outfields in baseball. There is a part of me, if we're tempering some expectations, that says it feels like this Phillies team, specifically in the outfield, could be a year away from a pretty substantial fall in that area.
The only comparison I want Justin Crawford and Yohan Rojas to be is that Justin Crawford is a horse and not taking horse pills.
Yeah, really. What a way to get suspended, right?
The Phillies had two players take anabolic steroids that didn't work. That has to be a first in Major League Baseball history. Kepler and Rojas took anabolic steroids that did not work. I'm all in on the Bryson Stott train, by the way, too.
Yeah.
Not just at the plate. I think Bryson Stott sets a new career high in stolen bases this year.
Gold Glove, maybe?
Yeah, well,
I also think
he's 11-1 for Gold Glove.
I also think he finally gets the credit for the Gold Glove. But if he's going to be hitting the ball the way that he is right now and the way he's looked in spring training, he's going to get on base, and he is always a threat to steal. I love whenever it comes out, I'm hammering his over for stolen bases, whatever it may be. His career high is 32 that he set in 2024. He only had 24 last year, but as Pete mentioned, like that first half of the year, he wasn't hitting the ball at all. He wasn't getting on base. If he's going to get on base, he's a threat to steal. I think he could have 35 plus stolen bases if he continues to hit the way he did in spring.
Yeah, I just wanted to look here, Kyle, to see what he was just for fun. What would he be for stolen base leader? And he is 80-1. He is literally, if you are looking at this just on DraftKings,
you can't get his bands.
I know.
He is the last actual player listed on stolen base leader.
They're afraid to hang his bands, but they're
30 plus stolen bases. I would love that if I can get that at a plus price as well, because he. He's right near the top, like 10th percentile of sprint speed. He had 27 attempted stolen bases last year. And I think everything, Pete, that you just pointed out in terms of how he's been hitting the ball, he's going to have, it appears, a ton of opportunities to get on base and to be able to try and, get some more of those stolen base attempts. So if you can find the 30 plus stolen bases, I would definitely look at that there. One other aspect of this team I feel like that's very different, though, coming into this year that has not been the case for the Phillies, at least since I have known them in just this recent form. I think their bullpen's going to be tremendous coming into this season. That is actually a real strength with, obviously, Duran. We know how great he is. What do you guys think about, and this is not really necessarily a betting angle, but just more of talking about like how they built and what they have. I mean, is it Keller, Alvarado, and then Duran is kind of the setup that we're seeing? Because if so, I have a hard time trying to think of another team that's got a essentially a 3-2-1 to be able to close out games. And then you add in the ability for how good the top four of the starting rotation, if we get a bounce back season from Nola, would be. Like, there should not be a lot of scenarios where this team is having trouble at least closing out games. And it does make me kind of want to look at what would be sort of the, type of ceiling win bands. Like, is that where we would want to bet as far as an angle with this team, given that they really do have that 1-2 punch within the starting rotation and then also with the bullpen itself?
I love this bullpen. I just put a clip out from my podcast today that this genuinely might be, for 90s babies, the best bullpen we've ever seen from the Phillies.
Totally agree. I saw that too, dude. It's so good. It's incredible.
Like, I don't remember a Phillies bullpen going into a season. Obviously, you make trade deadline acquisitions and stuff like that, but going into a season, you can have Duran, Keller, Alvarado, Tanner Banks, who was one of the best relievers for the Phillies last year that did not get nearly enough credit for being how good he was. You add Backus into the mix, you add Bolin into the mix. Once Kerkering is back, like, that's like 7 guys right there coming out of the bullpen, where you already have a starting rotation of Sanchez, Nola, Luzardo to start the year. And then once Wheeler comes back, you put him in the mix. Those are 4 guys right there that, when they're on, easily going seven innings a game. And then you can just go lights out 7th inning. Here comes Alvarado, depending on situation. Here comes Keller. And then Duran comes in to close the door. I don't remember the last time the Phillies had that. They obviously had the 4 aces, 2010, 2011, but they didn't have the bullpen to couple with it. It was always relying on those starters. But now you have like the full pitching like fleet right now. And I think that is like the strength of this team. As much concern as there will be about, parts of the lineup and stuff, this pitching staff is going to take them however far they want to go.
Is Duran 17-1 as saves leader a crazy bet? Because he's the 8th favorite in that market. Like,
I mean, I don't.
It's obviously not a dart, but like, man, it's like there's a lot of scenarios where I see him having a like good number of games where he's going to have good save opportunities to come in.
The thing that is that we just all sort of named why you don't necessarily want it. They don't have to force him into a locked out situation. Like, Alvarado's got closing experience. Even Keller closed a game last year at one point. Like, Kerkering, they've actually said in the past that if they hadn't gotten Duran, like, they were going to groom Kerkering to eventually be the closer. Like, you have options. And to the initial point that Pete made, everything is about getting this team to October and getting past whatever mental block they have, which, by the way, watching Team USA do this exact same thing made me think more that there are managerial or other issues and mental things with that it's not like, like you just watch like Team USA. By the way, 3 of the last 4 hits that Team USA got were from Phillies, where they were Schwarber and 2 Harper hits, but that team didn't show up to hit when it mattered either. I kind of want to throw it to Pete, like, not to hijack this part, but what do you think is what gets them over the October hump? Like, what is it?
It's just hitting in October, dude. I mean, you have the payroll, you have the players. It's just about showing up. At some point, it's not about managerial decisions. It's not about, pitching the reliever. It's like, dude, you got to score more than 1 run against the Dodgers in 11 innings. You just got to put up runs. The only thing that turned me off was, remember when Alec Boehm, he was like, the lights, they're so bright and I feel so much pressure. I was like, bro, don't say that. You sound like a little kid. He's just like, the lights are so bright. And it just like made me think, it's like, you're not built for this situation.
You're soft.
I mean, it's just like, and having postseason experience is huge. So it's like, now you guys have got plenty of postseason experience. It's just nut up or shut up at some point. I really don't think there is any moves that anybody can make. It's just your players performing when it matters most. I don't know how you guys feel, but that's just how I feel. You got everything in place. You won the 2nd most games in baseball. Show everybody why when it matters most right now.
Who's Because by the way, I think we've all talked about this separately. Like Pete, you and I've talked about it on the phone, and Kyle, you and I definitely talked about it. But this team never had like a Greg Dobbs, like who could kind of come off the bench and like was doing things in the postseason. Who is like, as the season might go on, and we can kind of talk more less of a betting thing, but Phillies are definitely going to be one of those teams that are going to buy, especially leading into a no baseball year. They'll be like, yeah, we're going to go on. Who is someone who you guys can kind of think of that would be a bat that that you could see it ultimately ending up on the Phillies for an October run?
I mean, like Whit Merrifield, Austin Hayes, like any of those guys.
All these guys.
Mundo Sosa, like
yeah.
Take a pick of any white dude in his 30s that's past his prime, and the Phillies are all about it.
John Birdie.
John Birdie, yeah. John Birdie is an absolute future Philly.
That is a good question. Like who the Dombrowski, dart throw is.
Like Randall Grichuk reeks of becoming a Philly.
Oh yeah,
like, absolutely. I can guarantee you Randall Grichuk is a Philly by the end.
And then
of the
around
season.
here they'll just do the old bit because they'll be like, "Oh, do you know who was drafted right after Randall Grichuk? Mike Trout."
Yeah.
I got one more player I want you guys to kind of give your take on, and we can talk about his betting market too. So Andrew Painter is going to start in this rotation. So he is, I believe, the 5th starter, right? That he's been announced to begin the year. Highly touted prospect. Well done also by Dombrowski to ship off Mick Abel after basically having one good start against the Pirates last year.
He outdueled Paul Skeens.
That was a magical game.
It doesn't get
Random Sunday afternoon.
I'm telling you, you probably could have traded. If the Brewers are smart, they could have traded Jake Mizorowski after he had outdueled Paul Skeens to get Skubal. That seems to be the case. It's like somebody outduels Paul Skeens and they immediately become the best pitcher in baseball. Which I guess for 24 hours you can hold that title. But so Andrew Painter right now, and I'm just trying to pull up for the rookie of the year odds for him. So he is, let's see if I can find this.
He was 30-1 the other day.
I feel like he has to be.
He has longer odds than Crawford, which I think is kind of crazy. Given
he's still 30-1 now. Rookie of the year is like a especially volatile market, so we do try to bet this one more in season. But I mean, for Pete, for Kyle, like, is Painter a guy like do you believe in that has been worth the wait? Because I know there was a lot of questions last season on if they were going to try and bring him up in August, especially after the Wheeler injury. They took their time. He looked pretty good in spring. He's obviously going to start on the team. Like, is 30-1 a bet that would be interesting, or will you kind of want to wait and see how he looks throughout the first couple of weeks? And does he have a permanent spot in this rotation, especially when Wheeler comes back?
I would say yes. I saw him in spring, and we all watched him in spring. The biggest thing that I was looking for was velocity and control, and that's exactly what we saw. He was pumping 98, and he was hitting his spots. He wasn't getting as many strikeouts as some people would think. A lot of soft contact, which is fine, but velocity and control is what I was looking at, and he checked off the boxes. And they've been hyping him up. He's coming after the All-Star break. He's coming. Didn't end up working out. And again, to the point of like, sometimes you have to fail, sometimes to be in AAA, figure out what's not working, what is going to work. But I have no worries about him. The guy's pumping 98, dude. He's hitting his spots. He's young. He's a highly touted prospect. So I as far as the market goes, I'm not really sure, but I have a lot of confidence in Painter after seeing him this spring.
Yeah, I mean, he's 22 years old. He's probably the biggest touted prospect pitching or hitter wise since Cole Hamels for the Phillies. Like, he's getting that type of buzz as, I think the pipeline has been Hamels, Nola, Painter as like the homegrown pitchers that have gotten.
Oh, you don't remember Jesse Biddle and the baby aces?
Oh.
Like Spencer, what was the other guy's name? God, it was like, oh man, they had a bunch of dudes that were the new aces on that team.
Oh, it was terrible.
None of them made it. Yeah, I remember that.
Kyle Drabeck.
Yeah. So,
but I mean, he's 22. I do love that he got his engagement out of the way before the season. Like, I think that's a huge thing where it's like, that's not weighing on him from a personal life standpoint. It's like, hey, I got this under control. Like, I don't have to worry about that. I think that's a smart move by him.
That's a sharp angle. That's a very sharp angle.
Proposal. That is a stressful.
Dude, there's guys who are playing for their babies now. Like Andrew Margolick used to pitch. He says, like, yeah, they all the players bang like their wives nonstop in February so that they can just be like, they can time those babies.
Yeah, it's crazy. And I mean, the Phillies are the most fertile team in baseball too. So it feels like every week they're announcing a new pregnancy. But I like that from an off the field standpoint. And I mean, like Pete said, like, he's pumping 98. He's 6'7". I can't wait for the 6'7" song to be playing every single second in Citizens Bank Park when he's on the mound. Good jersey analytics. He's wearing number 24. I like that. It's a big upgrade from 76. And I think, like, the fact that he has not only Caleb Cotham, but he's going to have Zack Wheeler and Aaron Nola and Sanchez and Luzardo, and even, he's not like a world beater, but to be able to pick the brain of somebody like Taijuan Walker, who has pitched in the postseason, he's pitched in the World Baseball Classic, to have a veteran like that around him who's pitching the day before him. I don't think there's that many rotations in baseball for a young rookie like this to be able to have so many resources to kind of just be able to be like, hey, I'm a new major leaguer. Let me pick your brain and see what I can learn. I think it's such a good spot for him. And there's little to no pressure on him, as crazy as that sounds. Yeah. He's going to be the number 5 starter to start the year. And everyone is just excited about the fact that he's finally in the rotation. Like, he can come in, pitch 5 innings. This bullpen is good enough to get them through the rest of a game.
I agree. No notes. I agree.
And the defense rests. So as we kind of start to wind this up a little bit, we haven't really talked about Harper. We haven't talked about Schwarber. We haven't talked about really Sanchez either, who we could, argue. I mean, I would make the case that I think Sanchez deserves to have the best starting pitcher title after his season last year. Do we have any interest in trying to be a little contrarian on Harper MVP? Is there anything from the big guys or the big guns that you guys are looking at from a betting standpoint? Because for me, when I'm looking at the Phillies individually, I love the Nola bet, Kyle, that you brought up. I'd be kind of interested, I guess, in the Painter one there. I do want to look at the stolen base number 2 that we had talked about. But the main area I'm trying to target as far as a betting angle is just, how can I bet more of the win bands for this team? How can I bet this team, for example, which I think this is insane, the Phillies to win 100 games is 7-1, where the Mets are 6-1. But yet the Phillies have better odds for best record than the Mets do. They have 13-1 for best record versus 18-1. Doesn't tell me how that makes sense. So I guess that's as far as like season long. Is there any other specific either big name players that we haven't really discussed here in the last 40 minutes that you think are still showing some value on season long, or are you just finding other ways to bet this team, whether it's from the win bands, the totals, or maybe even like an exacta type of market? And maybe I'll throw that over to you first, Berg.
So I'm going to choose. I had a whole argument about Bryce Harper stuff, but I'll leave that to you guys. We haven't really talked about him, but we talked a little bit about him, but Jesus Luzardo is an ace. And he was always thought of as an ace and couldn't stay healthy. And Kyle said it. Caleb Cotham unlocks guys in the best way. He's like the Jeff Stoutland of the Phillies. I have with you. I have so much Luzardo liability. I forgot that I'd had this, but like we took Luzardo 12. They don't even hang, by the way, higher than 12 wins for him, but 12 wins for Luzardo, who, by the way, had 3rd most quality starts in the majors, plus 190. And we then took him I took him for K leader at 60-1, which is a bonkers number for a dude who had 207 last year. If you can pitch 200 of them, you're live for this market. And then I took him for Cy. I took him for Cy at 40-1. Because
last year's strikeouts
260, yeah. So it's just, I mean, the K leader number is obscene, but the especially also now that he's been like they've rewarded him. I think it just also like the message that kind of was sent on a lot of these guys is that it is not the worst thing in the world. We talk about the run backs. it's not the worst thing in the world to be running back guys who are performing really well and or guys that are you are like, hey, we want you to be here for a bit. That's not a bad move. So for Luzardo, like I'm all in on Luzardo as the guy on this. Like you and I loved Sanchez and stuff last year. The value just isn't there for me. Like I'm not going to bet Sanchez at 12-1 for Cy. I want him to win it, but I just when I put up the metrics, Luzardo, these are Luzardo and Sanchez and Skeens. It's really funny. They're all three very different types of pitchers. Like, the Sanchez is actually not he's a swing and miss pitcher, but not because of velo. It's because of breaking stuff. And Luzardo, it's more of like he's actually closer to Skeens in that power pitcher, but he added a sweeper, or he added the sweeper last year, and then this year I think he added like another grip on his changeup. That's the stuff that I want to see for a Cy, because I think that he could just get those K numbers like crazy up and have those counting metrics. But yeah, give me all the Jesus Luzardo. Glad that he's kind of found a home with us.
Yeah, I'm very in on the Phillies pitchers strikeouts, and I love that Nola bet. I love Christopher Sanchez 200 plus strikeouts at plus 175. Like he had 212 last year. Like I don't see that going down unless something crazy happens. I'm also
he was great in that last game. He was great in his last game for the WBC too.
Yeah, he looks incredible.
Great.
And I'm all in on a ladder for Luzardo strikeouts this year. Looking at it right now, he is for 200 plus strikeouts. He's minus 105, 210. He is sitting at plus 190. 220, he is at plus 350. I love all of those.
I think Kyle, honestly, if you're getting into the 220, like even 230 territory, that's to me where I'm like on Berg's train, and just give me the 60-1 for K leader at that 100%. Point, because you're definitely live. But I agree on especially like the 210 at was it plus 190?
210, he is plus 190.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that one to me is like you're still sort of, you can bet at his sort of floor, and then you can take the 60-1 if he's well above that. Pete, what about you? Any guys that we've talked about? Any that are top of mind for you? You brought up obviously that great stat there with Stott that you're kind of looking at in terms of getting some value on before the season starts.
I mean, just the one thing that you guys were talking about with Sanchez, I really appreciate his to what Kyle said about the development with Caleb Cotham. I retweeted this because somebody tweeted it. Sanchez, never a top 100 prospect, never a top 10 prospect in any organization. His changeup was ranked 45 on the 2080 scale in 2020, spent 6 seasons in the complex league, went undrafted as a Rule 5 pick. So just more evidence of when you are with the right crew, your development can be drastically changed, and your payday comes with that as well. So like you mentioned, there's 2 live pitchers for Cy Young, K leaders in Sanchez and Luzardo. So yeah, as far as what was the question?
Just any guys. No, it's just any guys you're looking at.
It's like I got to be up in like 6 hours for these.
No. That's why I appreciate it. Yeah, we love you.
I'm running out of gas here.
I'm locked in. Yeah. Well, we were going to talk about Harper, right?
Yeah. Well, that's what I was wondering. I was just kind of subliminally nodding to you because, like, I like your Harper takes, so I want you to you take it.
Yeah, I look at like the more of like the storyline aspect of stuff and that kind of thing. Obviously, I thought the whole comments this offseason was drastically blown out of proportion, and misquoted. Dombrowski was asked on the spot, about Harper, and he said Bryce did not have an elite season. All the headlines, Bryce Harper is not elite. Bryce Harper is not elite. That is not what he said. He said he didn't have an elite season. It's going to be up to him whether he can go back to being elite or continue to be an all-star caliber player, which isn't an insult. So,
850 OPS is not bad. Is still
right.
Elite,
Then the fact that he says, "Oh no, it didn't motivate me, bro." You made a shirt that said "not elite" and you wore it in a TikTok video. That is calculated. You are calculating that. Like, he's very good at pandering. He's very good at marketing. He knows exactly what he's doing. As far as getting back to like an MVP type season, I think a lot of that is going to be on the shoulders of Alec Boehm and who hits behind him. And I think that's why he has not been able to walk as much as he wanted to, why he strikes out more than he wants to, because he doesn't get that protection behind him. You don't have a big bopping guy behind you batting in the 4 spot. I mean, Alec Boehm gets on base. He doesn't strike out a lot, which is great. But as far as like seeing pitches, it's kind of been a detriment to him because nobody's afraid to throw to Alec Boehm after him. So I think a lot of his
doesn't take a lot of pitches either. Sorry to cut you off. Like he takes the least amount of pitches in baseball. So it's like he swings at the most first or second pitches to make contact.
Exactly. So I think a lot of Harper's success is going beyond the shoulders of how well and how dangerous Alec Boehm can be and the pitches that Harper's going to see. Obviously, he can take a lot more walks and not chase out of the zone. So I think those two things go hand in hand when you're looking at Bryce Harper's success.
With those walk comments, Pete, do you think, because he talked about how he wants to walk more, do you think that would prompt Harper to say, hey, let me hit in the 2-hole and put Schwarber in the 3-hole so I have somebody behind me?
I've thought about that. I think they're thinking about that too. I think they're thinking about that too. Schwarber does walk a lot. I mean, his on-base percentage is great, which is awesome, but he's not a threat on the bases, right? And then you have Trea, who is more of a threat on the bases. So I think they can play, and I think they will tinker with that 1 through 3 to kind of see what is going to click and what's going to maybe unlock Bryce. I know they obviously want to get, Schwarber as many at bats as he can, but those solo bombs at the beginning of the game, those could become 3-run bombs, 2-run bombs. Huge difference. So I think they will absolutely tinker with that 1 through 3.
As we bring it here to let Pete be able to get some sleep before he has to
Bro,
deal with
I'm
his
fine.
kids.
I promise.
No, it's okay.
Let's talk about the win total, guys. So 89.5 is what it's listed, which I thought that this was 90.5 when I had checked, and then I saw
it was before, but
it was 89.5 as the number. Let's go around the board, and I guess Pete, I'll throw it back to you. Are you over or under 89.5 for this team?
Over. I think the team in the last 4 years hasn't won less than 90 games. So if you're saying you're going to run back the team and us thinking that they actually did get better, how are you going to say they're going to win less games? I don't see that happening. 89 wins, I think, is insulting. And I know, interleague play plays a big role in it too, but like we all were going to think, oh, the Braves are definitely going to come back and be healthy. That's not happening. Like, these are falling apart at the seams. The Mets have a bunch. They got 26 second basemen. They got 2 guys in the infield playing out of position at third base and first base. You got Polanco playing a position and Bo Bichette playing a position they never played before. So, the Mets, can they click? It's up in the air as far as like the division's concerned. But 89 wins over all day. I would be very surprised if they won less than 89 games.
Kyle, what about you?
Yeah, I'm very in on the over there. Like, I'm looking at DraftKings right now. Like, they have team record 95 plus regular season wins. The Phillies are plus 250. I love that, especially with the starting pitching, with the bullpen that they have. Most of this lineup is going to hit during the regular season. They've proven that. Obviously, they just have to do it in the postseason. But from a regular season standpoint, I think you can gauge if a baseball team is getting better more so by looking at their year over year in the regular season than you do with their postseason, which you kind of do with, the NFL, which everyone likes to compare baseball to, which you just can't do. And the Phillies year over year under Rob Thompson have improved their win total every single year. I think they continue to just kind of roll. Plus 250 for 95 plus regular season wins is a no-brainer for me.
Bird?
I'm in on it. I was like looking if I wanted to be cute about this, like 93 to 97 is plus 320, but no, that's the thing. Like, it's a very different team in October, and they worry about October and trying to fill the holes. They worry about that in July or August, I guess, whenever the new trade deadline is. But I'm over on this team. This is at least a 92 to 93 win team to me. I think the fact that the numbers under that is, to Pete's point, a little bit insulting. The lineup. The lineup is even just like objectively a fraction better than last year with some of the guys that are not in there, and their pitching and bullpen is extremely elite. So yeah, give me this Phillies team to win 95 games. I'm trying to find that right now. Like, I love that that win band on DK. Like, there it is, to win X Games. Yeah, I'm all in on that one, Kyle. Coming away with some heavy Phillies liability, plus 250 for 95 wins. I'll take that.
My sneaky fun little sprinkle bet too. This is obviously, hopefully he stays healthy for a full season, but 179 hits last year. Trea Turner, 200 plus hit season, plus 450.
That's a great
I like
number.
that a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to be a dissident, but I am fully on board with Pete's comments, and I saw 89.5 and also thought that was somewhat disrespectful based on what this team has accomplished and that they were the second best team from a record standpoint. If you look at that alone last season, I love that plus 250 on the 95 plus wins. I think I had said earlier in this pod, if you want to feel a little bit even spicier, you want to go 7-1 on 100 plus wins. You could do that as well. Although when you get into 100 plus wins, then you might as well just kind of look at best record, which they are 13-1. And I would just also, by the way, say that Berg and I were both very high on the Cubs on this podcast a few weeks ago. You can get Phillies over the Cubs NLCS at 55-1.
Go, we're already doing this. We're already doing this.
Which I'm just saying, if I had to pick, at least if you're just telling me gun to my head preseason NLCS pick, those are the two teams that I would probably put there. But I think the 95 plus, Kyle, is if you're playing a win man, that to me is where I would play this, because that's gonna from a sort of, statistical bands, that's going to be, I think, much more likely to hit. I think it's also crazy that they are basically the same odds for the NL East as the Mets. And I think the Mets have definitely some upside. We talked about on that podcast. That was a little bit lower, but I just don't see it. Why the Phillies shouldn't be shorter favorites to win the East, especially everything that's been happening with the Braves. But we are going to, I think with that, we're almost up here at an hour for this podcast. So I'm gonna try to release everybody. But Kyle, let's start with you. Where can people find you?
Yeah, check out Underground Sports Philadelphia at Underground PHI all across the socials. New episodes every Monday and Thursday. We pop off during baseball season. Berg's gonna be stoked to see my mom's post game videos coming up.
Dude,
soon.
your mom's the best.
Very excited. I'll be at the first 3 games, and then I'll be at Painter's debut. I got an awesome seat behind home plate to watch him make his debut, so I'm very excited about that. But yeah, at Underground PHI, Underground Sports Philadelphia, wherever you get your podcasts, YouTube, all that good stuff.
Pete,
I'll come down.
Kyle, are you local?
I'm in South Jersey.
Okay, nice. Me too.
I'm in Vineland.
Oh, I'm like right by Cherry Hill.
Okay.
Yeah, we got to link up, dude.
Absolutely.
I won't give out my coordinates over the air, but yeah.
Well, I did say, where could people find you? So you could take that literally and give out your actual address. So.
Yeah. Don't want that, dude. Got enough death threats. We're good. Yeah, just everything, just Sheffield Shuffler. Everything on socials.
Cool. Well, I would say Berg, but you can find him on this podcast because we'll be recording here twice a week. So you'll be able to find on some more Dad's Bet Baseball. But Berg, I think we can officially say we are over halfway. In fact, we are done. We have recapped.
We did 30 teams.
We have previewed every single MLB team. So thank you, Kyle. Thank you, Pete, for not only joining us for the Phillies, but getting to join us on this special edition here as we kind of complete this journey of our team previews. So that is going to wrap it up, though, for the team previews series on Dad's Bet Baseball. We will start recording regularly as we get into some real actual baseball starting this week. I think we're going to release this one on opening day itself. So go enjoy the games, and we will catch you on the next one.